Hi everyone, it's Craig Marchant coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia. And tonight I want to talk about two topics. So I'm going to talk about my new book, and I'm also going to talk about one of the topics that I got sent through in the mental health survey that I ran in September, late September, early October. So, firstly, obviously, my new book, Conquer Your Inner Demons, the ultimate guide to better mental health, gratuitous plug here, um, is now with the bulk printers and is um, going to be ready probably by around mid-November at this stage. So that's actually a bit quicker than I thought. I'd expected it would take, probably until the end of December to um, actually get the books, but it turns out that's not going to be the case. So obviously I'll be able to post out orders at that point. So if you've already ordered, thank you very much, and I'll be sending you your copy of the book. Something else I wanted to announce was part of the initial plan, but somehow it went into this side of the year, came out that side of the year, and I completely forgot about it. And that is, I am going to, so for every book that is sold in the pre-sale launch, which is up until December 27 at 11:59 in the evening, I'm going to donate $1 from that sale to a mental health charity. And the one I've decided to support is one that's been founded by Cameron Dado, which is called My Men's Team. And it's about getting blokes together, and to talk about, mental health and, to help prevent, male suicide and depression. So I think that's a worthy cause to support. And also on top of that, for every dollar that we do send there, I'm going to double it basically. So I'm going to do $1 match. So we'll end up with twice the amount going to a really worthy charity. And I'm feeling quite confident that we should be able to do a reasonable sized donation, which is good. So that in effect it's $2 per book is going to be donated. So moving on to the next topic for the night. And so, as I mentioned, I did put out a mental health survey in late September, early October, with the purpose of finding out what sort of questions and information people were looking for when it came to depression. And indeed all mental health illnesses. And so I'm going to tackle those in these live videos, and they'll just sort of be spread out. So the first question I got was this one, which you can see at the bottom of the screen now, which is, what is the best way to support a family member with mental health issues? So obviously I come at this from two angles. So one, as a person who has mental health illnesses and my own experiences with that, but I also have the experiences now, I wish I didn't, of having a daughter or two who has mental health illnesses themselves. And so obviously now I have the experience as a parent supporting a child through their mental health illness. So I'm going to start with, if your family member is an adult, because it's a little bit different to how you handle things with a child. So, but the first thing to know and to think about is they probably don't want you to solve all their problems, okay? So you don't need to charge in there with your sword drawn, to conquer the beast within, because that's not going to work. What you really need to do is to sit there or stand there and listen and be a shoulder for them to cry on if they need to. You need to turn on your listening ears and let them lead the conversation, because they know best what's going on. And they're going to know what to do. They're going to have a bit more information. So let them also know that you do care about them, and you want to support them in whatever way is best for them. Hopefully they can tell you that. Otherwise, there might be a little bit of, working with everything to sort out exactly what is the best way to support them. You want to always treat them with respect and dignity, because remember, it's not easy opening up to somebody when you're not even sure what's going wrong. And I can attest to that. Many times, I'd love to be able to talk about it and discuss it, but I don't even know where to start. Like, what's the actual problem at this particular point in time? So you want to talk with them about their feelings if possible, but don't push it. It's all about sort of respecting boundaries and where we go from there. Suggesting that they seek specialist advice, so probably either from their GP, so you can get them on a mental health plan, treatment plan if you're here in Australia, or I'm guessing around the world it's the same sort of deal. You go to your GP or some other mental health professional to get the ball rolling. And something nice that you can do is you can offer them any assistance in, say, making appointments or coming with them to be their support person. Whatever it is that's going to help them. And I do actually talk about the support person in my book, and how I feel that it's quite important. That when somebody does go to the doctor, especially for the first time, there's a fair bit of information to take in. So it's always good to have a second person there that can sort of act as a support person. But not only that, they can hopefully pick up the things that you're missing and relay them to you, so in effect you're not missing them. And also know, okay, this one's really important, because I've seen so many people beat their head against the wall. It doesn't matter how hard you want to help somebody when they're suffering from a mental health illness. There's a saying, an old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And in other words, what we're saying is, they have to want the help as much as you do. Otherwise, you shouldn't expect anything amazing to happen, because, quite frankly, it may not. If they're not going to speak up about their problems, or they're afraid, whatever it is, and they can't engage in any meaningful conversation, it's very hard for the professional on the other side to actually get a sense, an idea of what's going on. Now, it's a bit different with the kids, because obviously, you're the parents, so you can do a bit of a foot stamp if you want, or, sort of lay down the law and hopefully get some help. But when it's an adult, it's a completely different kettle of fish. And I know that some institutions say that, if you're worried about someone seriously, you're worried about their safety, or the fact that they might be thinking about suicide, definitely call emergency services and other mental health personnel. That's across the board. Like, I totally agree with that. Just, I would caution you to not expect the world if they're not going to talk about their problems or how they're actually feeling. Because, as I said, it's so hard for a doctor or another mental health person to figure out what exactly is going on for this particular person. So, look, moving on from the adults, let's move on to children. So I'm going to start this with a great big OMFG. It is so different when it's your child and not you. Now I know how my mum felt about all this when I was going through it younger. And I think I've apologized to her before because of that. But yeah, look, if I could, I'd take all of their pain from my daughters, and I'd bear it myself, whatever the cost that may be. Because I never wanted them to have to ever go through even half of the crap that I've gone through. But life is interesting, and here we are. So look, some of the key things I have found is obviously to make sure that your son or daughter knows that you're there for them. And you can say things like, look, I can see you are really not yourself right now, and that's okay. You want to validate that, it's okay to be not okay. But also tell them, you might not be ready to talk about it now, but when you are, do know that you can come to me and we can talk about it. And it's going to be very important from a trust point of view. Don't just keep sitting there and hammering away. It's probably not going to do the best. As good as your intentions are, they're probably going to backfire slightly. You want to find a time where you can talk without interruptions. Now, anyone who's got a family, lol, that's funny, isn't it? But in our household, a lot of the conversations seem to happen after dinner, so around the dinner table, because the boys, or my boys, or our boys, will be off doing something else. So we can talk. And the other thing that does happen on a regular basis is we'll end up in the main bedroom, in the master bedroom, talking about it. So that's an important thing. You can suggest to them that they might feel better if they do seek help, but it's kind of similar to the whole adults portion here, which is they've got to want it as well. But you do have a little bit of leeway as a parent, and that takes me to the next point, which is don't be afraid to put your foot down as the parent when you're seeking treatment for your child. Okay, you know them better than the professional does, so you really need to step up and be an advocate for them, especially if they're not talking or they're finding it difficult to intimate what's actually going on, or quite frankly, maybe they've told so many people they're finally jack of it. They don't want to keep telling people over and bloody over again what's going wrong with them. So you need to, to really sort of, if you feel strongly about it, make your thoughts known. Don't just accept that they're the professional and they know what they're doing. You know your son or your daughter better than they do. If you think there's a problem, speak up. Okay, because I know I can attest to this as both a child, myself originally with mental health illness, and as a parent now with a child that has a mental health illness. Sometimes we ain't gonna talk. We don't feel like it. We don't want to. That's just how it is. Okay, so definitely be an advocate for your child above all else. Don't just accept they know what they're doing. They might know what they're doing, but they don't know your child as well as you do. And that goes doubly if your child is talking about suicide or any suicide ideations or anything like that. Okay, so I've got this little script I run through with my daughter, and she might come out to me and I'll ask her, okay, so how are the suicidal feelings tonight? Okay, they're pretty bad. All right, okay, so have you thought of ways in which you might do it? If you get a yes to that answer, that's a little bit more concerning than just on its own with the actual thoughts. But where the alarm should go off for everybody, okay, don't let this one go. If you have to ask them, do you feel safe right now? Can you guarantee me your safety? And it's exactly what a professional would ask them as well. Okay, and you've got to get a yes or a no. If it's a maybe, I would actually default to no, because it is too important. Back when I was a youngster and I had depression, I remember Mum talking with one of the doctors, and I think she even asked them, well, is it possible he's got depression? And the doctor laughed from what I remember and said, oh, no, kids his age don't get that. Well, look where we are now. It's like 2020, and we know kids get mental health illnesses now. And otherwise, we wouldn't have units like Stepping Stones at Monash, or there's another ward there for even the younger kids. So, Stepping Stones, I think, is from the 13-year-olds up to the 18-year-olds. But there's another ward too. I can't remember the name of it, but that's even for even younger children. Okay, so the whole crap about kids don't get it anymore, that can just be gone. Don't accept it. Don't let it even enter your mind. It most definitely can happen to the younger children, especially in today's age. It's, I sort of started with the internet when I was around 13 or 14. So it was back in about 1995. So the internet was taking off here in Australia. And we had to use crappy dial-up modems, the phone line, modems talking and all that fun stuff that if you were around then, you probably experienced yourself. But it's a different world now to then. There is so much more with, you've got Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. There are so many different ways that kids can get negative images of themselves from these sort of platforms. My daughter, both my daughters have social media, and if it was really up to me as a whole, I would actually bloody well outlaw it until they're 18. Because they have got enough going on without having that extra level of insecurity and coming through the internet to them, with Facebook and all those different social medias. So I might sound a bit militant on that particular topic there, but it's just the internet is a really great tool when it's used for the right purposes. But man, it's a bloody awful tool when it's used for the wrong ones. And it's just too easy. So sort of to sum it up, you want to get your child to, the GP or doctor to get the ball rolling. The sooner you can get that done, the sooner you can actually get help for your child. So let me see if I've got any comments from anybody. No, but I didn't really expect many tonight because I've pulled this one a bit later than I would normally do. Most people will be in bed. They're not like me who's sitting up at 11 o'clock at night talking on the internet. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I would encourage you to purchase a copy of my book. If you know somebody who has a mental health illness, or even if you are suffering from a mental health illness, let's be under no illusion, my book's not going to cure you. All right, I'm not deluded. It's going to take a lot of work for you to help yourself. But what I really want people to take away from my book is that I'm just an ordinary bloke, really. Okay, I've just been, I sort of guess, gifted with the fact that when it comes to my psychotic tendencies, so the visual and audio hallucinations, generally 9 times out of 10 I can tell if it's crap or not. I'm one of those lucky ones. Almost everybody doesn't get that. Okay, pretty rare that you can actually distinguish between the two. So I feel that it's my duty now to try and get this message out there amongst people, and to speak for those that can't do it. People like my daughter, who had a lot of trouble voicing how she felt to different people. So I want people to sort of say, hey, he's a relatable bloke, and if he can do it, then I can do it. And I truly believe that you can do this. I've got some exciting news that I will be bringing up over the next month or two about a program that I'm looking at starting up to help people with mental health illness. As I said, I did the Inca Trail in Peru back in May of 2016. I did that on behalf of the Leukemia Foundation, but I found that trek to be one of the most pivotal points in my life. I've got a couple of points that have really sort of hammered home for me, and if you get my book, you'll obviously read about them and you'll be able to sort of pinpoint them yourselves as well. But I really feel that these challenges can really help a lot of people with learning how to manage their mental illness and to realize their self-worth and just how strong they are. So hopefully I'll be announcing that in the next month or two. I'm just busy putting everything together. COVID threw a spanner in the works, just like for everybody, of course, but Yeah. So look, I want to thank everyone for listening to me. No matter when you're listening to me, whether this is now, tonight, whether you listen to it in a day or two. Um, I really do appreciate everyone who tunes in to listen and watch, to see what I say. I am truly humbled by that. Um, I don't set out to toot my own horn. That's not what I'm about. If through selling my book, I can only help just the one person, okay, just enough for one person to feel better about themselves and to know that they are strong enough to do this, that they can live a really good life, managing their mental illness, then as far as I'm concerned, that's my job done. That I've done just the one person. That's all I need, and I'll be happy, because that's all I really want for anyone, is to realize that yes, these mental illnesses will suck the life out of you if you let them. And it's so hard to get yourself into a position where you can work with that. I'm not here to say that this is easy. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety when I was around 12 or 13, and I got the schizoaffective disorder portion of it when I was 17. I'm 39 now. That's like 26, 27 years now. I still don't have all the answers. Hell, I wrote my book, and just 4 or 5 weeks ago, I had a huge depressive episode, and when I eventually came out of it, I decided that I would write a follow-up ebook to the book that I showed you before, sort of analyzing the year and the mistakes that I made, with taking on too much, not prioritizing self-care, and the events of the year. It all adds up. It's 2020 has truly been one of those years that I can't remember anything like it, nothing at all. And so I wrote a follow-on ebook that I'll be distributing shortly in the next few weeks. It's just going through the usual round of edits and things that happen, and that will probably be a free ebook that you can download. And as I said, it's more of a follow-on from this book, where I left my story in this book, and then it sort of picks up in this new ebook. So anyway, that's it. Talk too much as usual. Anyone who's watched my videos knows sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. They seem to be getting longer. Might be a bit concerning, but anyway, if people want to listen to me, that's all well and good. Thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing day, evening, whatever it is, and I will see you again soon. Thank you so much to everyone. I really do appreciate it. Good night.